The Cursed Village Hook. There are places that don't exist on any map, forgotten by time, abandoned by the living, but some say they still call out to travelers, luring them in with whispers on the wind. Ethan and Claire never believed in ghost stories until they found the village that didn't want them to leave. The road was never supposed to be there. It had appeared on their GPS out of nowhere, leading them deeper into an unfamiliar forest. The deeper they drove, the thicker the mist became, swallowing their car in an unnatural silence. When the engine sputtered and died, they had no choice but to continue on foot. Ahead, a village emerged from the fog, ancient, untouched by time. The houses stood eerily intact, their windows dark and hollow. A wooden sign creaked in the wind. Black Hollow, population 0. Claire shivered. This place feels wrong. Ethan checked his phone. No signal, no way to call for help. They moved cautiously through the empty streets, their footsteps the only sound. The village looked abandoned, yet it felt as if 1,000 unseen eyes were watching. The doors to the houses stood ajar, as if waiting for someone to step inside. A distant knock echoed through the air. They turned. A single house at the end of the street had a flickering light in its window. That wasn't on before, Claire whispered. Ethan hesitated, then stepped toward it. Maybe someone's here. Inside, the house was pristine, untouched by dust or decay. A dinner table was set, plates filled with rotting food. A clock ticked steadily, its hands frozen at midnight. Then the whispers began. You shouldn't have come. The air turned ice cold. Claire gasped as a shadow flickered past the hallway. The doors slammed shut behind them. Ethan grabbed her hand. We need to go, now. But the house had changed. The doorway they entered through was gone, replaced by a solid wall. The furniture twisted and warped, shifting unnaturally. The whispers grew louder, merging into one chilling voice. Stay. The floor cracked beneath them, pulling them into the darkness below. Part 2. The Other Side. Ethan woke up on the damp ground, gasping for breath. The village was still there, but it had changed. The air was heavier, tinged with the scent of decay. The buildings, once eerily intact, now stood in complete ruin. Collapsed roofs, shattered windows, vines crawling over their skeletal remains. And Claire was gone. His heart pounded. Claire! A voice whispered through the fog. Ethan! He turned toward the sound. The same house stood before him, but now it was nothing more than a burned-out husk. Yet, through the broken window, Claire stood inside, staring at him. Her face was pale, her eyes empty. Claire! He rushed forward, pushing open the charred door. The inside was colder than death. Ashes coated the floor, and the scent of something long burned lingered in the air. She stood at the top of a crumbling staircase. Ethan, you have to stay. Her voice was hollow, distant. Ethan took a step forward. We have to get out of here. Her lips curled to that unnatural smile. But we are home. The walls groaned, and the shadows stretched toward him. He stepped back, but the door was gone. The room darkened, the house pulsing like a living thing. Then the whispers returned. You are one of us now. Ethan turned in circles, searching for a way out, but the village outside was gone. Only endless fog remained. Claire stepped closer, her voice softer now, almost pleading. Don't leave me! Tears blurred Ethan's vision. He reached for her hand, but it was ice cold. He looked into her eyes and saw nothing human left. No, he whispered, stepping back. You're not Claire. She tilted her head. Then who am I? A second figure emerged from the darkness behind her, then another, and another. More and more faces filled the space, distorted, hollow, grinning. All of them had his face. Ethan screamed. Days later, a new road appeared on the GPS of an unsuspecting traveler, leading them deep into the mist, to a place that didn't exist, to a village that had just gained a new resident. Welcome home.